She was a remarkable woman whose life was marked by artistic inspiration, scandal, and a quest for personal fulfillment. Born in Scotland in 1828, she was married to the influential critic John Ruskin at a young age, but the marriage was ultimately dissolved due to his apparent disgust with certain aspects of her physical appearance. She went on to marry the renowned artist John Everett Millais, becoming a muse and collaborator in the pre-Raphaelite movement. This lady was born into a wealthy family in Perth, Scotland. Her parents, George Gray and Sophia Margaret, provided her with a comfortable upbringing at their stunning Italianate-style home at Bowerswell. She possessed an insatiable curiosity and a sharp intellect, constantly seeking to expand her knowledge and discover the wonders of the world around her, and was particularly fascinated by the arts and spent much of her free time studying paintings and attending exhibitions. But despite her comfortable upbringing and privileged lifestyle, this lady felt increasingly in need to be fulfilled. She longed for something more that would allow her to express herself and pursue her passions to the fullest, and so one day she decided to change the course of her life forever. So join me now as we look back on the complex life of Effie Gray. The tale of Effie Gray and John Ruskin was one of intrigue, passion, and tragedy. The remarkable account of Effie's life originated in Ruskin's fantastical story, The King of the Golden River, which he wrote for her when she was a mere 12 years old. Their families were acquainted and they were encouraged to consider each other as potential spouses when the time was right, and in 1848, when Effie was 19, they finally tied the knot. Their honeymoon was spent in Venice, where Ruskin was busy researching his book, The Stones of Venice, but while Ruskin was absorbed in his solitary studies, Effie longed to socialise and make new friends. She struck up a friendship with Lieutenant Charles Politzer, which Ruskin seemingly had no objection to, but which her family later claimed he encouraged to create a pretext for separating from her. Ruskin's aversion to consummating the marriage was a source of ongoing tension between the couple. They had agreed to abstain from sex for the first 5 years of their marriage so that Ruskin could focus on his work. But when they finally did try to consummate the marriage, Ruskin recoiled in horror, claiming that he was disgusted by certain aspects of Effie's appearance. Effie was devastated by Ruskin's rejection, and their relationship began to unravel. When she met the talented painter John Everett Millais 5 years later, she was still a virgin and immediately drawn to his passion and energy. They soon fell in love, and Effie decided to leave Ruskin and start a new life with Millais. The scandalous affair caused a sensation in Victorian society, leading to a bitter and protracted legal battle between Ruskin and Effie. Ruskin's actual reasons for rejecting Effie remain a mystery to this day. Whatever the truth may be, the tragic story of Effie and Ruskin remains one of the most captivating and enduring tales of love and heartbreak in art history. Effie Gray's story continued to unfold after she left John Ruskin and began a new life with John Everett Millais. It all started with Millais painting her portrait, which brought them closer together during their trip to Scotland. And while there, they fell deeply in love, and their relationship blossomed even though Gray was still married to Ruskin. When they returned to London, Gray left Ruskin and announced her intention to file for an annulment. With the support of her family and influential friends, she pursued the case, causing a scandal that rocked Victorian society. But the annulment was eventually granted in 1854 on the grounds of incurable impotency. Gray wasted no time marrying Millais, and the couple had 8 children together. Their marriage was happy, and Gray continued to model for her husband's works, including the iconic Peace Concluded, which immortalised her as a symbol of beauty and fertility. Millais was eventually elevated to a baronage by Queen Victoria, which gave Gray the title of Lady Millais. Throughout her life, Gray remained a muse and inspiration to the artists around her, from Ruskin and Millais to Lewis Carroll, who photographed her with her family in 1865. Her story was a testament to the enduring power of love and the indomitable human spirit. Effie Gray's life took another twist when John Ruskin, her former husband, became infatuated with a young girl named Rose Latouche. He first met Rose when she was just 10 years old, and over the years he became her teacher in drawing and other subjects. But as she grew older, Ruskin's attraction to her deepened, and when she was 18, he proposed a marriage. Rose's parents were understandably concerned about the prospect of their daughter marrying a man more than 20 years her senior, and they reached out to Effie for her opinion. Her response was telling. She described Ruskin as oppressive, indicating her unhappy marriage with him. The engagement was ultimately called off, but the episode left a mark on Ruskin's reputation and added to the already considerable scandal surrounding his relationship with Effie. Meanwhile, Effie continued to play a central role in the life and career of John Everett Millais. She proved to be an adept manager of his career, helping him to choose subjects and collaborating with him on many of his works. Her journal reveals her deep admiration for his art, and his works continued to reflect the pre-Raphaelite style for several years after their marriage. But Millais eventually began to break away from the rigid style of the pre-Raphaelites, opting for a looser, more expressive approach that allowed him to produce more paintings with less effort. And he even used his sister-in-law Sophie Gray as the basis for some of the most striking images, leading some to suggest that there was a mutual infatuation between them. Effie's life was a constant search for meaning and fulfillment, and even as she helped to shape the career of one of the greatest artists of the time, she herself remained a fascinating and enigmatic figure. Effie Gray's life was not without its challenges, and even after her marriage to John Everett Millais, she faced social obstacles and discrimination. Although she had been presented to Queen Victoria in 1850, the annulment from John Ruskin prevented her from attending events at which the Queen was present, and her social status suffered as a result. Despite these challenges, Effie remained a beloved figure in many circles, and her supporters continued to press her case sympathetically. Eventually, even the Queen relented and allowed her to attend an official function when Millais was dying, thanks to the intervention of Princess Louise. Effie lived for 16 months after Millais' death before passing away on December 23, 1897. She was laid to rest beside her son George, who had died tragically at the age of 21. They were buried in the Kinnoull Parish Churchyard in Perth, which had a special significance for the family. The church featured prominently in Millais' famous painting, The Vale of Rest, and Gray's father had even donated the Millais window based on designs drawn by the great artist himself. Effie's legacy continues to be felt today as a symbol of strength, resilience, and a perseverance in the face of adversity. Despite the many obstacles she faced throughout her life, she remained true to her passions and beliefs, and her story still inspires all who seek to live life on their own terms.